Mr. Chief Justice.
The senator from Ohio.
I send a question to the desk on behalf of Senators Casey, Klobuchar, Warren, and Wyden for the House managers.
Thank you. The question for the House managers from Senator Brown and the other senators is as follows. Yesterday, you referenced how President Trump's perpetuating and propagating Russian conspiracy theories undercut our national security objectives. If acquitted in the Senate, what would prevent the President from continuing to side with Putin and other adversaries instead of our intelligence community and career diplomats? And what are the implications on our national security agenda if such behavior continues unchecked?
Mr. Chief Justice, Senators, thank you for the question. I've talked a lot tonight and throughout the last week about what's at stake here, because, it's getting late into the night. We've been having this debate for several days now. There's a lot of discussion on the legal aspects of this. So I don't want to get in again to, the issues of our troops in Europe, the hot war that continues to happen right now as we're speaking in Ukraine. But I will reiterate the precedent that we set with regard to Russia and foreign adversaries. This idea that it's okay to continue to peddle in Russian propaganda and debunked conspiracy theories. Because counsel for the President would have you believe that this is a policy discussion, that we have not resolved this, that there's a lot of debate about this issue. And if that is indeed the case, if we concede that, then there are some witnesses that we can call on, including Ambassador Bolton, that could shed additional light on it. But the fact pattern that we're sitting at right now, what we're talking about right now, is 17 witnesses that were called in the House, none of whom had any indicia or had any data to provide that any of these theories were accurate. We have the entire intelligence and law enforcement community of the United States unanimously saying that there's no indication that Ukraine was involved in the 2016 election, that it was Russia. And don't buy the red herring, by the way, that the counsel for the President has brought forth, this idea that, oh, it can only be Russia. They said earlier that we were claiming that it can only be Russia. That's not what we're saying. Nobody on this team has ever said it can only be Russia, because indeed we know, as many of these people in the chamber know well, that there's a lot of malactors out there, that there's a lot of countries out there that have the capability and the will and that regularly try to attack us in a variety of ways. What we are saying is, with respect to this issue that's before this body right now, is unanimously the law enforcement agencies of the United States and the intelligence communities of the United States have said that it was Russia that interfered in the 2016 elections and that there's no data that suggests Ukraine was involved. That's the issue. So the precedent, bringing it all the way around to the beginning of the question, the precedent is that all of our adversaries, including Vladimir Putin, will understand that they can play to the whims of one person, whether that be President Trump or some future president, Democrat or Republican. They can play to the whims and the interests and the personal political ambitions of one person and get that individual to propagate their propaganda, get them to undermine our own intelligence and law enforcement communities. That is a precedent that I don't think anybody here is willing and interested in sending, and that is truly what's at stake.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.